All right, cool. Hey, welcome back, guys. Check this out. I wanted to try something different here today. Breaking out my compact Presario 5190 model. It's a PC that I had kind of fixed up, restored, quote unquote, if you will, probably about a year ago. Um, just one of the many machines out of my lot of PCs that I got. Probably one of my favorite ones when I use on the regular, if you will, with what little time I get to mess around with this. Uh, so I got it all imaged up, or was able to find a recovery image, I should say, online for this particular model. So I got Windows 98 back on it. Still even running the original hard drive on it, which is a Bigfoot drive. It's a pretty cool machine. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to actually do today and check out is I got myself a graphics card, not to actually go in the machine. The machine actually already has the same chip already up built into the board, which was a pretty common thing for a lot of these, like Dells and Compaq. You know, a lot of them ran this ATi 3D chip here, the Rage Pro, which again, this machine's already got it. But one of the things that I noticed on the board itself was an empty slot for one of these RAM modules. So to expand the memory of your GPU, your graphics chip, and I was just kind of curious to see what kind of performance you actually gain if you were to do that. Like if you were somebody that was kind of locked in to the chip that was already on the board. It does have some PCI slots, but one of the things that was nicer about this chip here, it does use one of the AGP slots, or I say slots. It doesn't have an AGP slot on the board, but it still uses AGP, like the bus, if you will, the pipeline on the motherboard. So it is a quicker than you would have on a PCI. So, you know, I just wanted to see what it would be like if you were going to say, hey, I want to upgrade my computer. I'm going to get myself one of these little RAM modules. And although I can't really find much information on these, I don't know how much something like this would have even ran back then, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s. I can imagine they probably still weren't very cheap. You know, it was probably still a fairly expensive upgrade for the time. So I was just kind of curious to see if you would even see much of a performance boost. So I was just going to go ahead and run a few tests today. We'll do a benchmark and then a couple games just to see what we get. So first I'm going to go ahead and run 3D Mark, see what we get. And so again, well, if I didn't make this obvious here, this is actually going to be doing the tests before the module goes in. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and run a new benchmark. I guess also just to kind of pull up, just to show you some of the specs of this particular machine here. Let me just get this pulled up here. So we do have an AMD K6 processor, the 3D now, all that, you know, the typical stuff. We're running at 400 megahertz on this one. We got 128 megabytes of RAM. We are on DirectX 8.1. So, you know, for back in, you know, 1998, 99, this was a pretty solid computer, really, for the time. One of the things I want to change here, I don't want to do, let's see here. I don't want to do the CPU, really. We'll skip that. Maybe I will go ahead and leave in the rest of this for the test. Mainly to, well, actually, I'll just go ahead and run the full gamut just to see what kind of changes we get. This test takes a while, so we're not going to wait for the whole thing. I'll just show you the results when we're done. Okay, so we got a score of 1,118. I'm going to go ahead and jot that down on my notepad. don't have any graphs or anything for you here today. I'm not that fancy. So just going to jot that down, and then we'll see what that compares to after the RAM. But we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, yeah, and the next thing we'll do, I also have Fraps version 1.2 that I found that actually does work in Windows 98, albeit with mixed results. Some games do display it. Some games I'm going to try here does not. So we'll just kind of see. We'll just have to kind of use our eyes to see some of those other games. But I'm going to go ahead and launch Need for Speed 3. Oh, hold on. Let me also get. Might be helpful if I get the disc in place here. There we go. And we'll launch this game. When I did check this one earlier, I do believe this one does work with Fraps. So let's just take a look at some numbers here. There we go. Hopefully I have it up enough so you guys can actually hear something. Oh yeah, that intro. Thing of beauty. Alright, but we do need to move on. Oh yeah, oh, I want to turn that down a bit. Alright, just going to do single race. I'll play with the Corvette. And then I didn't go to the option screen, but we are running at 800 by 600, 16-bit color. Same as the test with the 3D Mark. That's kind of my go-to resolution for this time period. With higher or more intensive games, I'll sometimes have to bump down to like 480. But yeah, this game is actually pretty capable. I'm going to be playing with the Microsoft Sidewinder here. 2, 1, go! And as we can see, there's a few details I've turned down. Like I don't run full high details. The full high details puts out like smoke from the tires and puts down tire marks on the track, which really eats into the frame rate. And in my opinion, doesn't really add to the game, the gameplay. So I usually turn that off along with a car. There's like a shiny model or whatever, or chrome, whatever they call it. Same thing, tanks your frame rates and it just makes your car just look wet all the time. Doesn't necessarily look better. But other than that, all the other settings are set to high for like draw distance and things like that. And right now I'd say like, yeah, we're getting about anywhere from 15 and I see it goes up to 19 frames per second. So hopefully if we upgrade the RAM, we'll see that go up. But we'll go ahead and call that around 16 to 19 for Need for Speed 3. Okay, let me go ahead and launch the next game, see what we get there. Okay, now we're going to move on to Motocross Madness by Microsoft. And let's see what kind of performance we get here. Before the upgrade. Pretty fun game. Friends and I used to play this back in the day. I always thought it was just so fun just running around out in the desert here, which is what we're going to do. Doing all the jumps. Oh, let's see. Yeah, we'll just set a few opponents here. Get a few characters on screen, but... Alright, same thing. Going to use the Sidewinder for this here. I can hear that hard drive just clicking away. Oh, there we go. And we're off. Alright, with a few more characters on the screen here and all this dirt and dust and smoke. Oh, yep, I crashed. Okay, so we're looking about, oh boy, so pretty chunky frame rates here. So 15 in some spots here, 17, 18. Definitely haven't seen it go over 19 just yet. But again, this is how we played things back then. So this isn't exactly atypical, if you will. You know, this is pretty normal. gaming, I would have been happy with this frame rate. Or really wouldn't have known any better or different. You know, this would have just been how it played. Yeah, really fun game. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and chalk this up to another kind of, oh, yeah, probably another 16 to 19. Pretty much almost the same as Need for Speed 3, really. So yeah, let me go ahead and queue up another game and see what we got. Okay, now we're going to queue up some Rogue Squadron. One of my favorite games here. And unfortunately, this is also one that does not work with fraps. So it's just going to be more of kind of, we'll have to just eyeball it and see. It actually plays, if I remember right, it actually plays pretty decently on this machine. It was a pain to get running at first. It would always crash right at this screen right there. As soon as anything started to draw, it used to just crash hard to desktop. And then after playing around with some drivers and getting some later drivers for this ATi Rage, then it worked just fine. So it's always the drivers. Got to make sure those are got to make sure drivers are up to date for things to work right. Okay, same thing. Just gonna use this good old Sidewinder. Normally I would actually use my Microsoft joystick for this game, but I'm not gonna swap that out just for doing some testing. All right, we'll just run over to, oh, bumping into everything. Just gonna run into this first level here for this, just for testing. Same thing again, it's running at 800 by 600. Looks great. Looks even better on a CRT, and I'm not able to record on a CRT just yet because last time I tried to, it was just I can't get my, I got a really crappy phone camera and it just does not sync worth a darn. Yeah, even this intro, I mean, it really actually plays really smoothly. I don't know, this might be a tricky one to even see a before and after, to be honest. Yeah. Other than maybe, ooh, it's actually a little bit trickier on this gamepad rather than the joystick for controlling this. Ooh, really tricky. But as you can see, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty smooth. I'd still say about 25 maybe frames per second, 20 to 25, so a little smoother than some of the other games we were running, or maybe it just appears that way to me. But maybe if there was more action on the screen, maybe I'd see something different. A little bit of hitching, stuttering here and there, but I don't know. I'd say this is looking really, really good. Yeah, I'd say at least 20 frames per second, but maybe even 25 at some times, especially where not a lot's happening on the screen. But I'm sure if there was a lot of units going on, you'd see some dipping going in play. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and launch SimCity 3000. This was a game that came out in the year 2000. This computer was only really a couple years old by the time this came out, so this is definitely a realistic scenario of wanting to upgrade or thinking you're upgrading your machine, because you know you get the latest SimCity game. And to be honest, this machine struggles with it. This one's definitely going to be more of the processor side rather than the GPU side, but I just wanted to try it out, see what it does. It should also be running in, yeah, there it is. Okay, we're running at 800 by 600. Let me go ahead, and I just had a simple city here that literally has nothing built except for a road. And let's just see if we get this loading. It's actually loading up slightly faster this time around than the last time. Before, when I was kind of prepping before this video, this loaded so incredibly slow. Oh, in fact, right there, it took a while for that to. Yeah, I'm trying to move the camera right now, and it's not really doing anything. Let's just draw a road, or build a road, I should say. Yeah, even now, like I'm doing things, but it really is struggling to do anything. give you some residential here. Oh man, I know it doesn't convey maybe while you're watching this, but yeah, right there. I mean, it is just really stuttering. We'll see if upgrading that RAM would do anything, but again, I'm going to chalk this up more to um, the CPU. Being a 400 megahertz CPU, I think would be the deciding factor more than anything on this as far as our slowdown. But oh my gosh, I don't even know. Let's see if I zoom in anymore. Yeah, just even that zooming out right there. Well, I still can't even get this camera to cooperate and move for me at the moment. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to the keys, the arrow keys. And yeah, I'm hitting them, but we're just, I mean, it is just chugging along. It is barely moving. I would say that this is almost darn near unplayable at this point, which is a bummer because yeah, I'm thinking about all the people that would have tried playing this game on their machines that were again only a couple years old. But this just goes to show too, back then, you know, people's computers were just going out of date after a year. Like it was pretty ridiculous. All right, let me just go ahead and save and quit this nonsense, and then yeah, and then I'll be right back. Okay, just shut down the machine, and now for the fun part, or really actually not so fun part, and that is taking the cover off of this machine to get to that part. Yeah, this computer, unfortunately, this case or this cover here on the top going around, it is a huge pain in the butt to put back on. Taking off isn't a big deal, but putting back on it, I don't know. It doesn't line up very well at times, and it has to like sandwich in between to that front part, and it's really just a clumsy thing. I like the way the case looks, but just putting this thing on, like see right there, it comes off just fine, but putting it on is a huge pain in the butt. And so hopefully I'll luck out getting it back on easily this time. But okay, let me make sure you're able to actually see what I see here. So one nice thing about this particular machine is we could actually get to that part by just removing the motherboard tray, rather than trying to go in from, you know, what you would consider like the usual side. But I mean, it's back in there, very difficult to get to, and yeah, huge pain in the butt. So we're gonna tackle it from the back side. Just a couple screws we need to remove. One there. And one right here. And now it should, let's see, I was in here not even that long ago. Let me try to remember. Yeah, it just slides forward, kind of opens up like a door. Let me see if I can get a better shot so you can actually see what I'm even looking at. Yeah, it just opens up like a door, really super cool. I do have to unplug that, and that, I think this is just for like some like little service port. And there we go. Now we can actually see the board. And then if we could see right here, this is actually what I'm talking about, is this memory expansion module. And let's see, let me get my camera in a little bit more. But yeah, see, there's our Rage 3D chip, just like on the card that I purchased. And there's its expansion module. And when I first was setting up this computer a year ago, I saw that and I thought, oh, what? You know, hey, that's cool. I wonder what that's for. Well, it's for this. So I ended up actually buying this graphics card here. Didn't even really need it per se. I just needed the module, but you can't find, nobody was selling just the module. So I had to buy the whole card just to get this module. So now I got it off of that card. Let's see. It's kind of an obvious slotting here. If I could just get it in place. It's a little bit more finicky to get in than I was hoping for. Oh, come on now. Okay, there we go. Had to move the camera out of the way, but now I'm back. Yeah, it was a little bit more of a pain to get in than I realized, but there we go. We got the new module in. I'm going to go ahead and close this back up and then come back to you with more tests and see if it actually did anything. Okay, got the computer put back together, back into Windows here. First thing, let's go ahead and just check our DX diag here. And let's see if it recognizes our upgraded RAM. Wait for this to fully pull up here. There it goes. All right, there we go. And no, it looks like it didn't. So it should have had, yeah, it was already 4 before. Okay, coming back at you here after a little bit of time troubleshooting. I was not able to still get this computer to read the extra module. I even went ahead and reseated it a time or two to see if it would finally recognize the RAM. Um, it still never did. And then I went to look up other issues online that other people were having, and this seems to be a pretty common issue. Other people have problems with their RAM module, and it appears to be that sometimes it's not compatible for whatever reason. I don't really know why. I know the module works because I've already tested this card on my test bench, and I see that this card does show up 8 megabytes of RAM with this. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll go ahead and in this part here, I'll make it a 2-part video. So part 1, big time failure with my compact, unfortunately, because I was really hoping to actually upgrade this one. But my next video here, part 2, I'll go ahead and put this on back on my test bench and still run the tests again to see what kind of performance boost or increase, if we get any, on the test bench, which also has a higher clock speed CPU than this one. So then we know for sure there, one of the added benefits of that is knowing that the CPU won't be any bit of a bottleneck. It'll all just be down to what the graphics card is capable of, as well as upgrading its RAM module. So I'll see you on part 2.